interesting way of judging folks that quit. I'm a boxing fan. I'll take you and date myself. How many of y'all remember Sugar Ray Leonard? Sugar Ray had fast hands. So much so he had a climactic, colossal collision with Roberto Duran. They got to fighting, and they were going blow for blow, round by round. The funny thing happened in the middle of the fight wasn't so much that Ray Leonard was getting the best of it. Somewhere in the middle of the round, that Roberto Duran turned and shouted 2 words, "No mas." And turned his back to his combatant and walked to his corner and sat down. Those that don't speak Espanol, no mas means no more. He quit in the middle of the fight. Nobody really figured out why you stopped fighting. Could have been the blows that Ray Leonard was throwing, but Ray Leonard wasn't known for power. Just known for speed. Maybe a couple of those shots upside his head got Roberto Duran's mental or psyche, made him turn around. Whatever it was, he sat down. And he's never been able to overcome the impression or perception that he was a quitter. Middle of the fight. Y'all remember Muhammad Ali? Great boxer. He had speed and power. His hands were huge, like hammers, heavy as they were. So not only could he hit you quick, but he could hit you hard. But every great fighter has an opposite fighter. His fighter that was opposite of him was Smoking Joe Frazier. They had 3 epic battles. And the final one, when they used to really box, they fought 15 rounds, not this 10 rounds stuff they do now, or 12 rounds. It was 15 rounds, third of fight. Ali in his corner sitting down. They trying to get air back into his lungs. He's exhausted, sitting in his chair. Joe Frazier on the other side, you couldn't tell it was Joe Frazier. He had knots off the side of his head so bad. Eyes had been closed shut. But he was still trying to get up out of his chair. And somebody had to throw the towel in for him. Nobody talks about that fight about Joe Frazier. Because it wasn't the perception that he was a quitter. Because even though he got rough for him, he continued to fight on. We're sitting right now on the eclipse of a time of our country that we've never seen before. We got folks that we've sent as representative government, representatives to Washington to represent us. And they can't seem to figure out how to compromise in order to keep our country from going into the fall. Everybody mad. Democrats mad on one side, Republicans mad on the other side, independents mad in the middle. And the only resolution that can come of this foolishness is that you and I end up being hurt. They don't figure out a way to raise the debt ceiling. But as these Asian markets open up in the next couple of hours, stock market will feel the ripple effect all over the world. What does this mean? Layman's terms. If you got a bill and a credit card, if you got a mortgage on your house, if you got a lien on your car, those are 3 important bills that you have in your life. You decide on the due date not to pay it. Don't pay your credit card. See what happens. Don't pay your mortgage. See what happens. If you mess around and got one of them cars that are on stock, don't pay your car note and see if it start up for it. It's funny that the government can't handle their business any better than they ask us to do. You don't pay those things will be turned off. And if they don't figure out a way to raise the debt ceiling, that's exactly what's going to happen. Some folks ain't going to get their Social Security check next year. And if you live in check to Social Security check, that's going to impact you his side. Everybody from the same party saying, you are a man. You're the one. We're going to follow you anywhere you take us. Been 2 years, 2.5 years now. Folks are supposed to be in the same party. He look around for get some help. They talk about it. But I thought we were supposed to be on the same side. They all of a sudden have pulled the chair of support from out underneath them. Everybody looking for 2012 for the opportunity to unseat another man in the place. I don't care what side of the aisle you may be. I don't care what your politics got nothing to do with that. I'm talking about it must be difficult to believe that you've been placed in a position to accomplish a goal. And those who are supposed to be on your side turn their back. Not only do they turn their back on you, but they got to take out news ads and talk about it. It's got to be difficult. Every time you open your mouth, somebody got something negative to say to you. It's got to be rough to be that man in that chair. That the folks he fought with turn their back on. And the people he's supposed to be fighting are doing a great job on fighting. It must be rough to be him to wake up in the morning. And the only people that he knows is on his side is Michelle and the two little babies. It's got to be rough sipping his coffee. To wonder when he walks to the White House floor, to the other side of the house, of the White House, who is going to be there to overhear him saying something? And put it out on YouTube and say he wasn't what you thought he was. It has to be difficult to be the man in charge of the United States. Especially in the middle of this crisis. Why is that relevant, Rev Johnson? Because he reminds me of Jeremiah when I was reading. Jones reminds me because Jeremiah had been set up by God to prophesy to Jerusalem. That was his job. That was his mission. That was what he was supposed to. He was supposed to say, you've been out of order, and because you haven't done what God has said you're supposed to do, he's supposed to prophesy destruction and despair. I don't know what kind of dinner guest Jeremiah must have been. He invited to your house, sit him down at your table, and all he can talk about, y'all some sinners. Lord told me to tell y'all, you're about to tear all Judah about getting messed up. I wouldn't want to invite him over myself. Tell me something positive, Jeremiah, but that wasn't his ministry. He had been told to tell them you are idol worshipers and you've chosen to go a different way. Jeremiah had to preach what he's supposed to preach. But when you read halfway through Jeremiah, Jeremiah just imagines he's tired of preaching that message. He's tired of it. Tired of folks talking about him. He's tired when he showed up, folks turning and walking the other way from Jeremiah. Walk away from him. Tired of that. He wanted to find some happy medium so he could get away from it. And what's funny is when you read the text, he's in a conversation with God and say, you induced me to preach your word. Induced means he coerced it.